Before Ramadan even arrives, Allah starts pulling certain hearts closer, not with signs in the sky, not with loud warnings, but with a feeling you cannot explain, a heaviness, a softness, a longing that did not exist yesterday. If you feel that right now, this message is for you. This pull was not your idea. Allah touched your heart before you even noticed. Let me meet you in this quiet moment, the kind of moment the world does not see. You did not come here because you planned to. You did not schedule these words into your night. Something inside you slowed down without explanation. Your thumb paused. Your breathing softened. Your thoughts grew quieter for just a few seconds. And in that small pause, something deeper opened inside you. That is often how Allah begins. This pull you feel, this gentle heaviness in your chest, this strange awareness that something sacred is approaching, did not rise from your own thoughts. You did not wake up one morning and decide to feel closer to Him. You did not build this longing through effort or discipline. It was placed inside you. Allah has a way of touching the heart before the mind understands what is happening. He sends a feeling before He sends an explanation. He sends a longing before He sends a direction. He lets the soul lean forward before the body even realizes it is moving. You may have noticed small changes that are difficult to explain. Things that once distracted you do not satisfy you the same way. Moments of silence feel deeper than noise. Being alone feels less empty and more meaningful. The thought of standing in prayer feels heavier, but also warmer, like a place you want to return to, even if you have been away for a long time. These are not accidents. This is Allah gently shifting the weight inside you. Sometimes He does not change your life right away. Sometimes He changes how your heart feels about your life. He makes certain things lose their shine. He makes certain moments feel hollow, not to make you unhappy, but to make you aware. Aware that you were created for something more than constant distraction, more than endless rushing, more than filling every quiet space with noise. That quiet pull you feel is not pressure. It is not fear. It is not guilt. It is recognition. It is your heart remembering where it belongs. Even if you have been distant, even if you have been tired, even if you have felt lost or unsure, Allah does not wait for perfection before reaching out. He reaches out so the heart can begin to heal. And when this pull comes, it often arrives in the smallest moments. In the middle of the night when everything is quiet. In a single word that suddenly feels heavy with meaning. In a pause where you feel like closing your eyes instead of looking at another screen. Those moments are not empty. They are openings. This is Allah gently leaning toward you before you lean toward Him. This is Him creating space inside you where something new can grow. Peace, clarity, softness, or simply the feeling of being seen in a world where so much feels unseen. And if you feel this right now, let this settle in your heart. You are not being watched from a distance. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are being invited. Invited back to stillness. Invited back to remembrance. Invited back to a closeness that does not demand perfection, only a willing heart. Ramadan was sent to your soul before it ever appeared in the sky. Most people think Ramadan begins when the moon is seen. But what you are feeling right now is proof that, for the heart, it begins much earlier. Before the body feels hunger, the soul begins to feel a different kind of need. You may not have words for it. You may just notice that something feels out of place. A habit that once felt normal now feels heavy. A distraction that once felt exciting now feels empty. A conversation that used to fill the time now feels like it leaves you more tired than before. And you might wonder what changed. Let me tell you gently, you changed. Or more accurately, Allah began changing what your heart reaches for. This is how preparation begins. When someone important is coming to your home, you do not wait for them to knock before you start cleaning. You move things quietly. You open windows. You make space. You let fresh air in. Your heart is that home. And Ramadan is not just a month. It is a guest that brings forgiveness, closeness, and a chance to begin again. So Allah starts preparing the heart before the days even arrive. He does it in subtle ways. He makes noise feel heavier. He makes silence feel meaningful. He makes you notice the weight of certain words, certain actions, certain choices, not to burden you, but to wake you up. You may feel a strange desire to fix things you ignored before, a relationship, a prayer, a part of yourself you left behind. You may find your thoughts returning to Allah more often, even when you are not trying to think about Him. That is not coincidence. That is alignment. Allah is gently turning your inner world so that when Ramadan arrives, you are not just going through the motions. You are stepping into it with a heart that is already leaning toward Him. Sometimes this preparation feels uncomfortable. It feels like restlessness, like something unfinished, like a quiet tension you cannot shake. But that discomfort is not there to push you away. It is there to pull you forward. Because Allah knows that real change does not happen all at once. It happens in small, soft shifts that slowly move the heart from one place to another. This is why certain things start losing their shine, why certain goals feel less urgent, why certain nights feel heavier than usual. It is not because life is becoming smaller. It is because something deeper is being made room for. Allah is creating space inside you, space for reflection, space for forgiveness, space for a kind of peace that does not depend on circumstances. So if you feel this preparation right now, do not rush to fill the space. Do not drown it in noise. Sit with it. Let the heart feel what it is feeling, because this is not a sign that something is wrong. This is a sign that something sacred is approaching. And the fact that your heart feels it before the calendar does is itself a quiet mercy. This heaviness is not shame. It is Allah making room for you to come back. When this pull begins, many hearts react in the same way. They look backward instead of forward. They remember moments they wish they could undo, words they should not have said, prayers they delayed, promises they made in quiet nights and forgot in busy days. And suddenly, instead of feeling closer to Allah, they feel smaller in front of Him. They think this feeling means they are being judged. But let me tell you something gently. If Allah wanted to turn away from you, He would not turn your heart toward Him. Shame pushes a person into hiding. Mercy invites a person to step forward. And what you are feeling right now is not the weight of rejection. It is the warmth of being remembered. Allah does not call the perfect. He perfects the ones He calls. This heaviness in your chest, this quiet emotion that rises when you think about returning to prayer or opening the Quran or simply saying His name, it is not there to accuse you. It is there to soften you. Because a soft heart is a heart that can be healed. You may feel like you do not know where to begin. You may feel like you have been away for too long. You may feel like your words will sound empty if you try to speak to Allah again. But Allah does not measure your return by how beautiful your words are. He measures it by the direction of your heart. Even a broken sentence, even a quiet sigh, even a single thought that says, I miss you. Those are not small things to Him. Sometimes the heaviest part of returning is believing you are still welcome. But this pull you feel is the proof that you are. Allah is not standing far away, waiting for you to fix yourself before you come closer. He is the one creating the desire inside you to come closer in the first place. So if you feel emotional without knowing why, let that be what it is. Not embarrassment, not fear, but the beginning of healing. Because hearts do not soften like this unless they are being handled with mercy. Your soul remembered Allah long before your life slowed down. Your mind lives in the world. It thinks about tomorrow's responsibilities, yesterday's mistakes, today's pressure. It moves from one task to the next, one worry to the next, one distraction to the next. But your soul lives somewhere else. It lives in a place of nearness to Allah. And even when life becomes loud, even when schedules fill up, even when prayer becomes rushed and days pass without reflection, the soul does not forget where it belongs. It just grows quiet. So when something like Ramadan approaches, the soul begins to wake up. That is why you may feel restless without knowing the reason. Why nights feel heavier than usual. Why silence feels full instead of empty. Why you find yourself thinking about meaning instead of just movement. This is not sadness. This is memory. The soul, remembering a time when it felt close to Allah. When sujood felt like relief instead of obligation. When dua felt like a conversation instead of a routine. Even if that time was long ago, even if life changed you, even if you changed, that memory does not disappear. It waits. And when the season of mercy draws near, it stirs. That stirring can feel like longing, like a quiet ache, like wanting something you cannot fully describe. But what you are really wanting is not a moment. It is a closeness, a feeling of being held by something greater than the world you carry on your shoulders every day. So if you feel this inside you now, do not label it as weakness. It is awareness. It is the part of you that still knows where peace comes from, even when the rest of your life is busy looking for it in other places. Your soul is not rushing. It is waiting. Waiting for a door it recognizes to open again. And when that door opens, it does not want you to walk through it as the same person you were before. It wants you to walk through it softer, slower, more honest, more present, because that is how closeness with Allah is felt, not in speed, not in noise, but in stillness. And this stillness you feel now is not empty. It is full of remembrance. Allah does not prepare every heart. He prepared yours for a reason. Not every heart feels this quiet shift before Ramadan. Some people move through these days exactly as they always have. The same routines, the same distractions, the same rush from one moment to the next. The month arrives, and they step into it without feeling that anything inside them has changed. But some hearts are touched earlier. Some hearts begin to soften before the door even opens. And this is not because they are better. It is not because they are more deserving. It is because Allah, in His wisdom, chooses which hearts He prepares for something deeper. Preparation is not a reward. It is a responsibility. When Allah begins working on a heart before everyone else notices the change in the air, it often means He intends to place something inside that heart when the time comes. Something that cannot survive in a crowded, distracted, restless space. You may notice that you are becoming more sensitive to certain things. Words affect you more. Silence feels heavier. Moments of reflection feel longer. You may feel less interested in proving yourself to people and more interested in understanding yourself in front of Allah. These are not random shifts. This is Allah creating room inside you, because some of the gifts He gives do not fit in a heart that is full of noise. A deep moment in prayer, a night where tears come without effort, a realization that changes how you see your past and your future, a peace that does not disappear when life becomes difficult. These things need space, so Allah begins to clear that space gently. He loosens your attachment to what does not last. He weakens your hunger for what cannot truly satisfy. He makes you feel the emptiness of certain pursuits so that you can recognize the fullness of something else. And sometimes this preparation feels like being set apart. You may feel a little different from the people around you, less interested in certain conversations, less comfortable in certain environments, less willing to move at the same pace as before. This is not isolation for the sake of loneliness. This is separation for the sake of growth. Because before Allah gives a heart something valuable, He often teaches it how to carry it. And if you feel this preparation inside you now, let it humble you, not elevate you. Let it make you grateful, not proud, because a heart that is being prepared is a heart that is being trusted. This restlessness is the whisper that comes before Allah opens the door. There is a kind of restlessness that does not come from stress or exhaustion. It comes from anticipation. It feels like you cannot fully settle, like something is unfinished, like your heart is awake, even when your body wants to sleep. You may feel it most in quiet moments, late at night, early in the morning, in the small spaces where the world is not asking anything from you. This is not anxiety. This is awareness. This is the whisper that comes before a door opens. Before Allah changes something in a person's life, He often changes how their heart feels inside their life. He makes them less comfortable with staying exactly where they are, not in a harsh way, not in a painful way, but in a gentle, persistent way that says, "There is more for you than this." That is why you may feel drawn to sit in silence instead of filling every moment with sound. Why you may feel the urge to reflect instead of escape. Why your heart feels heavier, but also more alive. This restlessness is not meant to exhaust you. It is meant to guide you, because when a door is about to open, the heart often senses the shift in the air before the eyes see anything change. So Allah lets you feel the space before He fills it. He lets you feel the quiet before He sends the call. He lets you feel the longing before He gives the answer. And in that waiting, something inside you begins to soften. You begin to listen instead of rush. You begin to notice instead of ignore. You begin to turn inward instead of always looking outward. This is where real change starts. Not in grand decisions, not in dramatic moments, but in small, honest pauses where the heart finally admits that it wants something closer to Allah than it has had before. So, if you feel this restlessness, do not fight it. Do not label it as weakness. Let it be what it is, a quiete invitation, an early knock, a gentle reminder that the door you have been standing near is about to open, and when it does, you will not walk through it by accident. You will walk through it because your heart was already waiting. The heart that turns before Ramadan is the heart Allah plans to change during it. It often feels like you are the one making the first move, like you are the one who decided to slow down, the one who chose to listen, the one who began to care again. But let me tell you something deeper. No heart turns unless it is turned first. Every step you feel yourself taking toward Allah was made possible because Allah took a step toward you long before you noticed. The interest you suddenly feel, the concern you carry about how this Ramadan will go, the hope that this month might be different from the ones before. These are not products of your willpower. They are signs of divine attention. Allah does not awaken a heart for no reason. He does not stir something inside you without intention. When He begins to turn a heart early, it is because He intends to write something into that heart during the days and nights that are coming, something that lasts. You may not know what it will be. It might be forgiveness for something you have carried quietly for years. It might be clarity about a path you have been confused about. It might be a peace that settles into you so deeply that even when life becomes heavy again, you remember how it feels to be light. And sometimes, the change is not something you receive. It is someone you become. A person who is slower to judge. A person who is quicker to forgive. A person who is less attached to what people think and more anchored in what Allah knows. This is why the turning often begins in private, late at night, in silence, in moments no one else sees. Because the most meaningful changes are not meant to be performed, they are meant to be lived. And if you feel your heart turning now, even in the smallest way, take it seriously. Not with pressure, but with presence. Because Allah is not rushing you toward perfection. He is guiding you towards sincerity. And sincerity, even in a small amount, can transform an entire month into a turning point for a lifetime. You were not pulled closer. You were quietly chosen. There is a difference between moving closer and being drawn closer. When you move on your own, you rely on your strength. But when you are drawn, you are relying on Allah's mercy. This pull you feel is not something you created. It is something that found you. In the middle of an ordinary day, in the middle of a quiet night, in the middle of a life that may feel messy, unfinished, or uncertain, and yet here you are, listening, pausing, feeling. That alone tells a story. Allah does not reach into every heart in the same way. He does not awaken every soul at the same moment. But when He touches a heart, it is never without purpose. Being chosen does not mean being perfect. It means being invited. Invited into a season where forgiveness flows more easily, where prayers feel lighter on the tongue, where tears come closer to the surface, where hope feels more believable than it did before. And sometimes, being chosen simply means being given another chance to soften, another chance to return, another chance to start again without carrying all the weight of who you used to be. You may look at yourself and see only what is missing, only what you need to fix, only what you wish you were. But Allah sees something else. He sees a heart that still responds when He calls, a heart that still feels when He draws near, a heart that still opens, even if it opens slowly. So if you feel this pull, let it remind you of something simple and powerful. You are not here by accident. You are not listening for no reason. You are not feeling this for nothing. You are here because Allah wanted you here. And in a world where so many hearts pass through their days without ever feeling that touch, this quiet moment you are living right now is itself a gift. Not a loud one, not a dramatic one, but a real one. A beginning, a soft opening to something that does not end when Ramadan does, but carries forward into the person you become long after the month has passed. If you are still here, let this moment settle inside you for a few seconds. Do not rush back into the noise. Let your heart stay in this quiet place just a little longer, because not every night gives you a space like this. You may return to your life after this, to your responsibilities, to your worries, to the things you carry for everyone else. But carry this with you too, that Allah noticed you tonight, that He allowed you to feel something when you could have felt nothing, that He let your heart soften instead of harden. You do not need to promise Him anything dramatic. You do not need to change your entire life by morning. Just take one small step toward Him, a whispered name, a quiet prayer, a moment of stillness where you simply let yourself be present with Him. Because closeness with Allah is not built in grand moments. It is built in small, honest ones. And if this video found you in a time when your heart feels tired, uncertain, or heavy, let this be the place where you set some of that weight down. You are not walking toward Allah alone. He has been walking toward you the entire time. May this coming Ramadan meet you with a heart that feels lighter, softer, and more aware of the one who never stopped seeing you, even in your quietest moments. And when the world grows loud again, may you remember how this stillness felt, because this stillness is where peace begins.